And now for the moment that you've all been waiting for. From just north of the border, he's the hombre with no nombre. Mi hermano from another mamo. He's starting in OnlyFans, and you can get half off by entering the promo code HOGS. Again, that's HOGS for half off. El numero uno.
That's right. You're listening to one of the three Hogsmen. And don't forget, folks, that OnlyFans is coming up. Get your discount. But it is January 19th. It's a Tuesday night. And I'm here with the big man, Sweet Robin Shaw. What's going on?
I didn't know you sold fans.
Sold fans? Oh, my OnlyFans?
No, like actual fans?
What did I do? What did I say? Did I do something?
No. What is that? Are you selling fans?
Fans?
I'm just messing with
you. You mean like fans,
yeah,
like wind?
Yeah.
Ah, look at this guy.
Off to a great start.
He's quick. He's quick. What's going on, people? This is the new episode of the Hogs. And like Devin said last week, he's not going to be here for a little while, but I'm going to bring some people in and keep this podcast rolling until Devin gets back. But yeah, man. What's going on, Matt? How was your I'm sorry, can I call you Matt? Are we allowed to call you that?
It's fine.
I'll come and call you Shaw.
That's usually what people end up calling me.
I'm going to call you Shaw.
It's better than Big Rob. I've been called Big Rob, and that's weird.
Where'd Rob come from?
Because Robin.
Ah, yes.
But I never associated Rob with Robin, so it was just...
the
first time someone called me that, I was like, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Shaw. We'll go with Shaw.
That's what most people call me. So.
Anyways, man, what's going on, dude?
Not a whole lot. Here to do the podcast.
That's right.
I don't have the same kind of giant hog that you three have, but I am big, so I guess by default I do.
Hey, man, that's cool. That's cool. We're all just, we don't get to pick it. We don't get to pick the size, right?
It just happens.
It's just, that's also like the worst insult a girl can do for any guy, because it's like, oh, I'm sorry, woman. Are you saying that you would have picked a gigantic hog if you were a guy? You would have gotten one? Like, hey, we didn't pick any of this stuff.
I mean, they didn't choose their boobs either.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly, man. Anyways, hey, man, we had some wrestling on Sunday.
Yes, I love wrestling.
Yeah, that's it.
We're wrestling a lot now. Going from not wrestling at all to wrestling a lot is tiring.
It's nice because it's like, why are we training if we're not going to actually be doing matches, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I like training. I'm weird. But, yeah, it's definitely different when you actually have something to look forward to during the weekend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you had a match with Jordan Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
And how'd that go for you, sir?
I mean, I lost.
That's okay.
But, I mean, whatever. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like Jordan a lot. So, him and I are we're very similar in the way we think about wrestling, so it makes it really easy.
That's good, man. You sometimes you sync up with people and you're on the same page.
Oh, 100%.
And sometimes it like people are like, "Oh, you wrestled, some big name. How was it?" And you're like, "It was fine." Like maybe like you guys just didn't really click too much in the back. It was, like everything was fine in the ring, but it was just kind of like, "Yeah, it's fine." Like people want you to be like, "Oh my god, like it was the greatest fucking experience ever, blah, blah." And it's like, no, it's fine. And then there's like those like maybe not as big names in wrestling that you just click with. You're in the back, you're talking the match over, and it just is easy peasy. And it's not like some big name. It's just, Joe Blow from this area. And, you just hit it off, man. Like there's a guy out in Arizona called Alvic Reiner. I had multiple matches with him, and Alvic's not really well known. He kind of only wrestles for Arizona Wrestling Federation, but him and I just clicked, man. Like everything was just easy. He was like a true heel. He didn't want to do anything fancy. Everything he did was dirty, and I loved it, man. It was good stuff, dude.
Yeah, I wrestled a guy named 10 Bears, who I think might have had a total of 10 matches, like, total.
And might have the greatest name in wrestling, too.
It's amazing. He did, like, a Native American gimmick.
Okay.
And he's the strongest 10 Bears, and it was a shoot. He was incredibly powerful. So he could do all the crazy lucha stuff, because he was trained lucha.
Yeah.
And that made it even weirder that him and I just immediately clicked. And I think part of it is because I was like, I'm going to slow you down and we're going to have an American match because I'm not doing all that. But Like, for some reason, him and I just clicked really easily, and it was one of my favorite matches I've ever had. Like, and I was only like a year and a half in, maybe. So yeah, it was. I mean, I'm sure if I watched it back now, I'd be like, I hate everything about this.
Oh, easily, man. I watched my match. Oh shit, I watched my match from this Sunday, and I hate it. Even though people are like, hey, it's good, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine, but I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate every match I'm in for some reason. It's a curse.
I think that's a wrestler thing.
It is.
I remember talking to Bateman, and literally I was like, yeah, I kind of just hate everything I do. And he basically, in his deep Bateman voice, goes, welcome to wrestling, kid.
Exactly. Sunday, I had a match with a debuting wrestler. His name's Cameron August. And Killa Cam. We'll call him Killa Cam. He, young man from the Washington area, I believe.
Yeah.
He went and trained at Lance Storm's academy for however long that academy goes for. And then he somehow ended up in San Diego. I don't know where his travels were, but he came down here and he joined Level Up. And he's probably been there for, I'm guessing, like a year.
Something like that.
Something around that. And he finally debuted. He debuted last weekend at the first tapings that we do for these Level Up shows. And he did a great job. He actually worked with Jordan Cruz. And Benny, B-Boy, after the show was like, Mike, we're going to have you on next weekend. Who you want to wrestle? And I was like, give me Cam. Give me Cam. I want the new kids. So, yeah, man, he did great. It was a real easy match. Like I said, I watched it. Of course, I hate it, but I hope everybody else watches it and enjoys it. So what Benny's doing and Level Up Pro Wrestling is doing is they're gonna tape all these matches and then they're gonna send them to IWTV, and I think is that like a $4.99 a month kind of subscription thing.
I think it's a little more than that, but it's still pretty cheap.
Yeah. So yeah, man, go check that out and enjoy. It's nice to get some new matches out there, knock the rust off. And that's it, man. That's it. Yeah. Adam, how was your weekend? What's going on, man?
Good, man. Football. Lots of football.
A lot of foosball.
So
a lot of foosball.
Made the weekend kind of fly by a little bit,
Yeah.
Kind of what I expected to happen in those games, I think.
You think so?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy the Bills won.
Yeah, that's the team you wanted to make it, right?
I'd like to see the Bills go.
Well, they will if Patrick Mahomes can't play on this weekend. So.
Oh, yeah, no. Mahomes, if he doesn't play, the Bills are winning. I'm looking forward to Tom Brady ruining Buffalo's day one more time. I'm a Patriots fan, so even though he left, I still am like, go Tom.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't his fault he left.
Not at all.
Oh, I don't blame him at all. I totally understand.
Now, here's a question. Shaw, you're a football guy?
Yeah.
Nice. Mahomes got hurt. Concussed? Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
And he's got a banged up foot.
Yeah, he played on it for most of the game, but then he got the concussion, which I still have yet to figure out when he got the concussion because I didn't see him hit his head or anything.
It's always the ones you don't expect.
Yeah, I saw him get like a sleeper hold put on him, and then he just fell down. So.
So here's the question. They have to play next weekend. Playoff game. Big game. You are the owner of the Chiefs. You're the GM. You're the money guy. You're a franchise player. You're $400 million player. $500 million player. He's hurt right now. You can't just pop right back from concussions. It takes a little bit of time. Do you put him in?
If he clears all the protocols, then yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because you don't get many chances to win Super Bowls unless you're a Patriots fan.
Well,
hey, man.
Team.
Here's my thing. You got this guy locked up for what, 10 years?
Something like that.
Like that. Mm-hmm. Do you risk injuring your franchise player, your big money player for the future years, or do you just go, hey, put in the backup quarterback? If they win, they win. But the thing is, we got to look for the future with Mahomes. We can't ruin this kid. We can't take any risks.
Yeah, I mean, that's always like the risk you take no matter what. Like that's this, RG3's rookie season was the same thing. He got hurt in a playoff game and was never the same. Like literally he crumbled. But
there's the thing right there.
But then there's a million others of, well, this guy got hurt and they played him and they still won and he's still fine. Like that's happened too. Like it's just one of those things. Like a concussion it's no joke, but like if the independent neurologists and all those guys clear him and say he can play, like I'm playing him because I'm going to win now. Because Andy Reid could retire next season. You could bring in a coach who's not as good, and maybe the Chiefs never make it back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When your backup's Chad Henne, I think you got to play Mahomes.
You think so? Is that what would your call be that?
Yeah, probably. Quarterback generally is more protected than normal, so I think he'd be okay. But I'm also like, my conspiracy theorist hat says they're going to put him through. They're going to pass him through protocol no matter what, just because he's Patrick Mahomes. And the NFL is not going to want their big playoff game to not have their star player.
Yeah,
like, he is the face of the NFL now. So
basically,
yeah.
I mean, as much as I don't want to see a young man's career get like put in jeopardy with like another big hit. Who knows what this weekend. I understand you got to put in your top guys, right? I would probably put him in and then just keep an eye on him, see how he's playing, see how our offense is looking against their defense. Is he getting hit?
Yeah,
and just kind of be like, yo, if the defense is all over him, and he's just not looking 100%, not even half of what he can do, I'd probably be like, yo, get him out.
Especially when it comes to him, who in my lifetime I don't know if I've ever seen someone play the quarterback position like he does, where it literally looks like he's not even trying half the time. It looks like it's super easy. Like, he'll make these plays where he's throwing an underhand sidearm, and I'm just like I still think Tom Brady's probably the greatest quarterback of all time, but like,
the numbers say that.
There's a difference between greatest and best.
Yeah.
Like, even before Brady got to 6 and everyone's like, well, Rodgers is better. Like, Rodgers is obviously a more talented player as a whole, and Mahomes is like Rodgers except even better.
He just started too, so you don't even know.
Mahomes is going to take all the records, partially because the NFL is more of a passing league now than it was when Brady came in. But Mahomes is just Rodgers amped up, and no matter how great Tom Brady is, and he was also very good, like, it's very clear that Mahomes is physically the best quarterback ever.
Yeah.
If he gets to 6 rings, that there's a lot more factors that go into that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's like, when I watch him play, I'm just like, I can't even believe half the stuff I'm watching him do when he's playing. Like, Brady obviously has the clutch factor that other quarterbacks didn't have. Rodgers, he's not always had the best supporting cast around him, mostly due to the fact that team is like, it's weird. The team is owned by the city of Green Bay. Like, they don't really have a GM. Now they do. And so, I wouldn't say he's wasted his career there, because for all I know, the Packers won the Super Bowl this year, and that means he's got 2. So he's going to win Rodgers is going to win the MVP this year, and he's 38 years old or whatever he is. So that's pretty impressive too.
When I was working the nightclub industry, Rodgers came in one night to my nightclub. Not a cool guy. This was years ago.
Yeah, I've always got that vibe from him, but it seems like in the last couple of years, he's either calmed down or he's found a way to hide it better.
Yeah, I mean, God, I was probably like 26, 27 when he came in, so which he was probably about the same age, right? I'm guessing. And so he comes in, and I remember it just was like, you just get like vibes from people. Like, he wasn't very like cool. And then he goes up into the like bottle service area, and the bottle service girl, who was a goddamn smoke show, comes out to the front door and goes, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Because he's like basically saying like he's being like an asshole. And I was just we all just kind of started laughing, But it's like little impressions like that. And I've met like a lot of celebrity name people, I guess you could say, and it's very quickly you find out if like they're cool or not.
Who's the nicest celebrity that you met?
I don't know if you guys would know who he is. His name's Carey Hart.
Name sounds familiar.
He's a motorbike guy.
Wasn't he married to Pink at one point?
Yeah, I think he is married to Pink.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Nice as can be. Of course, I know who he is because I'm East County trash, and he was
Ramona's favorite son,
and he was like a god out in the East County area. Yeah. Carey Hart was a great guy. The drummer for 311, very nice. Little strange, but very nice. Lead singer of Godsmack, cool dude. Mike Piazza, great guy. Pitcher from Point Loma for the Padres and the Red Sox. David Wells.
David Wells. Oh,
very cool dude. There's a handful of people that used to always come in and just nice guys, nice people, man. So, yep. Hey, did you ever watch that documentary Tiger?
No, I'm waiting for the second one to come out.
It already came out, dog.
When did it come out? Yesterday?
I think it came out Friday night or something like that.
Oh, yeah. No, I got stuck on this Netflix documentary about a serial killer in L.A. in the 80s, so I kind of was locked into that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It's pretty interesting.
I heard about that. But anyways, the second part of Tiger, it was good, man. A lot more darker.
I
lot
bet.
darker.
I bet.
Know? Every civilization, you rise and then you fall.
Do you think in your lifetime that you'll ever have a golfer that will make you like even remotely care a little bit about golf like he did? Because I only know half the golfers I know now because I would see him on SportsCenter with Tiger Woods, basically.
I never got like too into golf.
I mean, neither, but I'm like you know some golfers because of Tiger Woods, like
Probably.
I was gonna say I have absolutely no interest in golf, whether Tiger Woods was there or not. But you're right, and I know more of like just tangentially of who different golfers are because of him.
Yeah.
But you watched that documentary at all, Tiger?
I haven't yet. My wife wants to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's not like the greatest thing in the world. So the first part,
it's not the Last Dance.
No, that's the greatest thing in the world. Tiger, it was like the first part's like, okay, you know, it's like about him as a kid, little kind of strange upbringing with his dad. You know, obviously he becomes the greatest golfer of all time. And you're just like, yeah, I get it. I saw all this growing up, you know, like I lived this. And then the last little like 20 seconds is like one of his mistresses sits down and he goes, okay, what do you want to know? And you're just like, I'm hooked. And then it ends. Yeah. So I watched the second part and it's all about like, you know, kind of like the real low point of his career and all that kind of stuff. And like all like, you know, like what he had like a DUI kind of arrest where he was just kind of on a lot of prescription pills and stuff like that.
Didn't he have a couple?
Yeah, he had like 5. He had like a nice cocktail of prescription going on. But, it ended up him, you know, fighting his way back and, you know, he's obviously one of the greatest golfers ever. And, he's back in golf and he's doing well. You know, he had a low point, fought his way back, you know, had a surgery on his back, I think. And, hey, it's a nice little documentary.
Now his son is starting to golf, so
I'm
sure we're going to have another Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
But that's like tough. Like very rarely do you have sons of like athletes at that peak being as successful as their dads. It very rarely happens.
Yeah.
Like Jordan's kids never played basketball. Like
smart idea.
They were decent in college, I think, but they never made the NBA or anything like that.
The only one that's coming is LeBron James's son is like he's up in like LA in high school right now. And everyone's saying that he might be actually a pretty good basketball prospect.
Really?
LeBron apparently is staying in the league until his son gets drafted so he can play with his son.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know that his original contract, like with the Lakers, it originally was long enough that like his year would end when Bronny would get drafted.
Yeah, and
everyone thought he was gonna jump at that point, but he got an extension I think this last offseason, so I think that kind of messed it up.
Yeah.
But
he's trying to do that Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. thing.
Yeah, he probably just I don't think he probably expected to play as long as he has. You know, guys that come out of high school, they don't usually play until they're in their 40s. Like I think Kobe was like 38 when he retired.
Interesting. Yeah, man, that's like one of those things when your dad is the greatest, or any like parent, right? It's really hard to follow that up because there's so much expectations on you that you're almost never going to meet.
It's like Steph Curry works because Del Curry was okay. He wasn't like elite.
Yeah.
So Steph didn't have like the pressure of being great. But he is great. So he's better than his dad. So
see, that works. When you go, hey, I have a parent who, you know, his dad was in the NBA, not a huge name, right? Not like Steph Curry, but like, you know
who Del Curry is if you watch basketball in the 90s. Like you've seen him play.
That's a little bit more like, okay, yeah, like follow. You can go into the, you know, the family business, I guess. But when Michael Jordan's your dad, when Kobe Bryant's your dad, when LeBron James is your dad, that's tough. That's tough to step into those shoes and just go, oh God, the mountain's so high.
Yeah, because you're going to get overdrafted anyway because of your parental lineage. So it's like Shaq's son is playing in I think college now or something.
Yeah, I was just about to say I think he's on the verge of he might get drafted. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's think of that, like people are going to give him a chance even if he's not great because he's Shaq's son.
Yeah. But what else is going on this week? Oh, you know what? Speaking of documentaries on Netflix, I watched Fear City. You a Netflix guy?
I have it, but I don't watch that much.
So Fierce City, very interesting. Actually, I didn't want to watch it. My wife was like, "Hey, let's watch it," and it's like, "Okay, I'll give it 10 minutes, and let's see if we're into this and all that." And it's about the 5 families, like back in like the 70s, early 80s, in New York, and how like they took them down. Fucking amazing. It's got like Giuliani. People forget. So these kids today are gonna be like, Giuliani's like Trump's boy, a liar, kind of a psycho, like a little weird. That man did that like some amazing shit back when he was younger. The guy took down the 5 families. That's nuts. After 9/11, he was like America's mayor. The guy could have ran for president right after that and won.
He did run for president and lost.
Did he?
He ran in 2008. He was in the primaries.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember it either.
Yeah, no, he was like the front runner all of 2007, and then like towards the end of the year, he just fell off.
Yeah, I can't think of a more beloved person in New York and just the whole country in like 2001.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, and now you look back at that now, you're like, what the hell?
What the fuck happened?
Like if you fell into a coma in 2002 and woke up in 2020, you'd be like, what the fuck happened to Giuliani? Like,
yeah. But this documentary, it's a 3-part documentary. It's like, I don't know, like an hour episode every time. But man, it's nuts how they just kind of like how they work the RICO law and the people they're interviewing. Like the FBI, all like the state's attorneys, all these people, and then they have the guy who is the bug guy. So he's the one that goes in and bugs all these mafia guys' houses, cars, the bars that they were hanging out at. What? Could you imagine the adrenaline rush?
Jeez.
Knowing you're going into like the hornet's nest and being like, I got to bug this place.
If you get caught, there's no.
You're fucked.
That's it. There's no like bargaining. There's no. You're dead. Like within seconds.
And it's nuts because they were like, this guy is a person who has to be a master of blending in. Right, you can't be like some suave-looking motherfucker, like some good-looking cat. You can't be too high, you can't be too tall. You can't be too big. You have to be a person that blends in,
yep.
and that's this guy's job. He blends in, man. It's nuts. But I thought he was kind of like the most like intriguing person.
Yeah.
Like this is the guy that had to like.
Well, RICO's the only real way you can shut down like a big group like the mob.
Yeah.
Because you can get one person and then somebody else will just step up.
Yeah, and it was nuts how like they kind of put it all together, and it's interesting as hell. Fierce City, I recommend it. Definitely recommend it. But anybody want to talk some wrestling?
Always.
You want to talk some wrestling? Adam's my wrestling guy. He keeps up on the current news. What's the big story right now, Adam? What's going on?
I'm glad someone does. I follow Twitter a little bit, but I don't have time to watch it. I can't even watch Netflix documentaries.
Adam Pearce has since been removed from the title match.
Saw that.
Since
saw that. I was excited to see him wrestle too, and we all got worked.
Everybody got really, really excited, and then everyone was really respectful, thankfully.
Yeah.
After he was pulled from the match, because it's not like he was replaced with somebody who sucks or somebody who people don't like.
Who did he get replaced by?
Kevin Owens. The storyline that's been going on, it was just like a swerve.
Okay.
So it sucks because everyone got excited for Pierce because obviously everyone roots for him and wants to see him, but maybe he just doesn't want to wrestle.
I don't know, man. I think he would want one match under the WWE banner. Just to say he did.
He probably hasn't been training for it. So like if they brought it up to him like 2 weeks ago, like I think he's one of those guys that's like, well, I'm not ready necessarily.
I don't know if it's part of the swerve, but like he did say on Twitter that he's not medically cleared. So I don't know if
that was part of the gimmick of the thing. He faked like a knee injury.
Okay.
And Owens was his replacement.
So when was Pierce's last match? Was what, probably 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was 5 or he said 6 years ago in a promo, but
Homeboy wrestled for well over 20 years, probably. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah,
right? I think he still got it. He's still got it.
Oh yeah, for sure. People like him don't lose the ability to just run. He could have at best a decent match right now without any prep, but like I said, I don't know if maybe he just doesn't feel like doing it.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe they just like, hey, it was nice throwing your name out there, just get a little bit of eyes on you. Yeah. But no, it was never actually supposed to happen.
I just think he's cool. He's even on TV. Like, that's surreal to me because I used to watch Hollywood and all that. And like, just seeing him pop up, I'm like, wow, Adam Pearce isn't just like the bald guy that's pulling people apart in fights. You know? He actually like has a purpose on the show.
So you actually watched Championship prior to your wrestling career?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No, I was deep into the indie wrestling bubble in SoCal.
No shit.
Yeah, way before I was wrestling.
How did you... So, because I was not deep into the indie scene. How? So did you just catch a championship on TV, or did you?
So I started watching indie wrestling when I was like 13 in like 2004, and then I went to my first Ring of Honor show in 2010, and that's how I kind of discovered PWG. And then I was like, oh, there's all this independent wrestling that's right down the street from me.
Yeah.
So I was like 18, so I was like, hey, I actually can like drive places now. So I found Mach 1 Wrestling, which was in Anaheim, and they had an association with the NWA. And then this was right before Hollywood even debuted. So I watched the first episode of Hollywood on KDOC at 1 in the morning.
Really?
Actually, I don't think it was at 1 in the morning then. I think it was on like right after SmackDown. I don't remember.
Pop quiz, hot shot. Who was what was the first match?
Was it Peter and Colt?
There you go.
Yeah.
And you happen to be wearing Peter's shirt.
Peter's shirt, yeah.
There you go.
I mean, he was one of my trainers, so.
Yeah. Where was that at? MPW?
At the Wrestle Center at Hollywood School.
Oh, no shit. Is that where you started?
No. I started at MPW.
Okay.
And then when MPW closed down for a little bit and we moved from Moore Park to Chatsworth, I would just drive to Ventura to go to Peter's class because it was free.
Nice.
Yeah, Peter training people for free and there was never like more than like 5 or 6 people there, and I was like, this is insane. Like, he wasn't in AEW yet, but like he was a big enough name that like I don't care if it's in Ventura, you can make the drive. You know?
Was this pre or post North Fernham?
Oh, this was after. This was only a few years ago. Yeah.
He was over, brother.
I know.
He was over on TNA.
Yeah.
So how was it? How was it training with Peter?
Oh, I loved it. Him and Ray are pretty similar, but different in their own way. So like MPW had multiple trainers. Ray was just one of them. I also trained with Seth Skyfire, who was an OVW. He was CM Punk's tag team partner.
Nice.
But then like going to Peter after going to Ray, like I said, they're very similar, but they may have their own differences that make it really interesting. Like Ray's a lot more lucha based, and like Peter would still have like a little more character stuff. I don't know. It's hard to explain, especially to people that aren't wrestlers. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I always loved Peter's classes and stuff. So
Peter's a great guy, man. I remember the first time I wrestled him, I was amazed. I was like, how does this guy bounce off the canvas? It's like what was that Disney movie with the green stuff that was bouncy? Flubber. I was like, dude, this guy's like Flubber. Like he can spike himself and literally he'll rebound about a foot off the canvas, and it's just amazing. I have no idea how he does it.
Did you wrestle him before or after he got jacked?
Jacked by what?
He's like buff now.
Oh no! Oh yeah, you mean like swolled up?
Whereas he was like a baby before.
No, this is way before.
I remember the first time I saw Peter was at a Mach 1 show in front of like 10 people, and I was like, "Who is this little boy? Like, he's skin and bones." And I was like, "I love him. He has these cool glasses." So
yeah, he's quite the character. No, I wrestled him before he got all muscled up. But yeah, it was fun, man. It was a very easy match, and
he's wrestling Cody Rhodes tomorrow night on AEW.
Is he?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
good for him, man. Peter, man, he put a lot of work in.
Absolutely.
He
it's so weird, some of these people that like I remember from like 2007, 2008 when I started, and I'm just like, man, to see where all these people are at now, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's how people felt like, in like 2005 when these guys made it to WWE and stuff, who had worked with them all through it. Like Peter, Sky, Ray. It's so many people.
Yep.
And Mach 1, that's a reference I have not heard in a long time.
Oh, I went to all their shows for a long time. Yeah.
Who was Mach? Who ran?
John
that?
Ian.
Who?
John Ian. The ring announcer.
Yeah.
He just recently passed away.
Yeah, I never met him, but I heard the name a lot.
He was a super nice guy. I think I met him once because Rick Ellis worked a Mach 1 show, so I went up with him. So I met him. PWG shows I've talked to him too.
That's cool.
But yeah.
So wait, Shaw, you watched Championship on TV. Did you ever go attend the tapings prior to wrestling?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Not just that. One of my friends, he trained with Scorpio Sky at the Wrestle Center, and he basically just did job matches, but he was like my best friend growing up, and when we used to backyard wrestle and stuff like that, like he was the one that we were like, he's gonna be the one to make it, and he honestly, athletically, if he'd have stuck with it, he would have, but he got married and was like, his wife wasn't super down for it.
Yep. Heard that story many of times.
Yeah, he was like signed up to go to Landstorm school and everything, and then he's like, I have to back out, I have to go get married. Yeah.
Who was it? I was talking with Devin or somebody, I can't remember. but it's just the more you bring into your life, you know, the commitments like that, right? If you're a 20, 21-year-old kid, your only real responsibility is yourself. And maybe you go to school.
He was 21.
Was he?
That's what sucked about it.
Yeah, man. So like, even like, you know, this wrestling stuff is hard enough, right? Just committing to it 100%. And then everything you bring into your life, a marriage, hell, if you got a dog, if you got a kid, any of this stuff, man, it just makes it one step harder to make wrestling 100% your commitment. You know, it's just life. It's just life. And so when you see these cats that do make it, you know, these guys that really grinded on the indies and they traveled everywhere and they sacrificed, you know, so much, you know, like family time, birthdays, weddings, funerals, God knows whatever else, right? You start to really see like that's what it takes. That's what it takes to make it to the top. You know, unless you get a lucky break. Yeah,
some people get more success quicker, and it's you never really know why or what the reason is. You're like, he's not any different than that person, so just lucky breaks, like you said. You know somebody.
The people that take that long journey, though, they're so much more interesting to listen to.
Yeah,
and watch. Like they're you can just tell like they're well traveled, all that kind of stuff, as opposed to like somebody that just was like, I got hit up by WWE. They saw my Instagram. Yeah. I have 50,000 followers. They asked if I wanted to do a tryout. They liked my look. They thought they could do something to me. They hired me, and that's your WWE documentary. You know, that's your WWE documentary.
It's actually funny because we were talking about Adam Pearce earlier. My friend, probably the biggest person he wrestled was Adam Pearce, pretty much right before he left for WWE. And he was just getting squashed. It was during his like one last ride tour or whatever. So I periodically will load it up on YouTube and watch my friend just get pile driven by Adam Pearce.
Why not, man? Why not, dude? Mm-hmm. Why not? So you used to go to the tapings for Championship.
Yeah, I went to like the last one they actually did in Hollywood.
Okay. And
there was not a lot of people there, and that's like right before they moved to the Burbank one, and then they moved to Ocean View. And then I went to Ocean View quite a few times just as a fan, you know. My wife's first wrestling show was a Hollywood taping.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and this was before I was wrestling, so.
And now you wrestle for him.
Yeah.
How cool was that feeling, man, when you came out the curtains? Like, man, I used to be in the audience.
It was surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely was like, this is full circle. Like, I did not expect this to happen. It was never really my goal. Like, my goal when I started wrestling was one match.
Same here, dog.
And then that just turned into, now I'm at like 230 or whatever, and then.
It's almost like it's like heroin, you know. It's like you got your taste and now you're on the junk.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a better mindset to have than just going in like, I'm gonna get to WWE someday. If you go one match at a time, I feel like, okay, I did this match, now they're asking me to do this match, rather than just being like, I'm gonna get to WWE, because then in 6 months, if you didn't get there, you're gonna be discouraged, disappointed, like you're gonna feel like you failed.
Yeah, and it's almost like a pipe dream.
Yeah.
You know, like if you say, hey, I would like to be signed to WWE or AEW or one of these big promotions, companies, whatever you want to call it, that's cool. But the thing is, set your goals. You know, build your career off your goals.
Yeah.
So, hey, I just want to have one match, right? That's my exact same thing here. I wanted one match just to say I did it.
Yep.
Right. and then you get that fix. And you're like, I got to keep doing this. And then you go, okay, this is my next goal. Okay, cool, I accomplished that. Okay, here's my next goal. Cool, I accomplished that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you just build and build and build, and hopefully, you know, at the end of your career, or not the end of the career, but somewhere in your career, you get, you know, picked up by a big time promotion, and you get paid pretty good money to wrestle. And yeah, man. So, but.
Focus on the basics.
Focus on the basics.
100%. Yeah, no, I'm very much I just want to enjoy the ride and see where it goes. You know, like, making it was never, like, I'd like to get paid, but, like, that's not even that big a deal, really, for me. Like, I want to have fun experiences. I like driving to places. Like, I've gotten to go places and do things that I never thought I would, and meet people that I never thought I would. Like, like one of my favorite things is, like, when Benny and Hunter wrestled at MPW Black Friday now a year and a half ago, we all went to the bar afterwards, and it's surreal to me that like Ray and Benny bought my wife drinks, and I'm like, I used to watch, and this was in the Valley, not far from where PWG was, and I literally say, I used to watch you guys at PWG like 5 years prior to this, you know, and now here we are, you know.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And by the way, Adam, bringing up the basics. So am I guessing you read Twitter today?
I didn't see what you were referencing, but I saw Hammer's tweet, and then I looked at some of the responses, and I'm just like, because you know the responses are always going to be when someone sends out that tweet that Hammer sent out. You're going to get the people that are going to come out of the woodwork and go say, "Well, you're wrong."
Yeah.
And then you responded to it.
So Hammerstone,
my
buddy, he sent out a tweet saying like, "Hey, man, I can't remember what it is.
I think you deleted it since then, right?
Something like that. It stirred up a lot of shit." And I hit up Hammer afterwards, and I go, "Hey man, your new name should be the shit starter." But he basically said like he feels sorry for the people that rely so much on like the comedy aspect or like the gimmicky aspect, like, and they just they have no basic fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
They bypass the basics, and like they're just relying on like kind of stupid shit, right? And I think a lot of people kind of mistook it. Gimmick is huge in this business, right? That's fine. What he was trying to say is, man, learn the basics, the foundation. Don't just bypass all that shit and go, I'll just cover it up with my gimmick, and it's like, that's, everybody should have a good foundation of basic fundamentals, all that kind of stuff. But when you completely just go, oh, I can't do any of that shit, I'll just fucking, do my hokey, fucking lame gimmick comedy stuff.
I saw one tweet underneath it, and this is one of the things it drives me crazy when people, because this is always everyone's response. Somebody like said, well, Orange Cassidy gets away with it. I'm like, guys, if you watch Orange Cassidy actually wrestle, he's really good at everything. He just does the gimmick because it got over.
Yeah. The gimmick got him over.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to match time, it's time to go. Yeah. And he can go.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
As someone who can get by on hokey shit and the stuff that just being big, you want to work on your basics. Like I'm very big on, when I go to training, I would rather just chain wrestle and like learn. And like, I don't necessarily need to learn new stuff. Just work on the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, my punches are as good as they've gotten because I did them a million times.
There you go.
That was when I was training at MPW before I moved down here. Like, Seth Skyfire, we literally did the same thing every single week. Every time he was there. Mm-hmm. It was the same drills. And like, that's whenever I'm like leading a class or something like that, I basically just steal his drills and do those. Because I know that if you just do this, we call it the Steve Strike drill. If you do boot, jab, punch, flipper, European chop over and over and over, eventually they'll be good.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, pound the basics into your head. That way it becomes second nature. Mm-hmm. You don't have to think about it. This is what you do. By the way, big man right here, Shaw, hell of an arm drag. Hell of an arm drag on this kid, and one day I think you're gonna have to let the world see that thing.
One day,
when the right time. Yeah, the right time. I couldn't believe it though.
If it ever comes up.
The training the other night, we did like a little warm up spot. Motherfucker bust out a goddamn arm drag, and I was like, holy shit, that thing looked good, man.
I legitimately don't even know sometimes how I'm able to do the things I am. Like whenever I watch myself do the spinning wheel kick, I'm like, I don't know how. Yeah. I can't explain it. I'm like, I remember when I first did it, it was at a Steve class, and he used to do it as part of his comeback, and Brendan Devine was trying to learn how to do it. Mm-hmm. And I literally was just like on a whim. I was like, this is probably going to suck, but I'll try doing it. And I did it, and everyone's like, well, no one else is doing this move ever again.
Nice, man.
So,
well, it makes sense. It with your size, and that move coming at you, that hurts. Yeah. That hurts, man. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it makes sense, and it's a good finisher. Yeah. It's a good finisher, man. I dig it. But, man, it was funny, because, like, from that tweet that Hammer put out, like, I saw just a bunch of, like, tweets, not even, like, quoting that tweet, but, like, it was it was people discussing it on, like, other threads, and I'm just like, oh, God. And Hammer really started some shit. But it's just funny to see, like, the people that, like, comment negatively. They're like, oh, whatever, blah blah blah, and it's like, and you're a wrestler, and you're saying, hey, fuck the basics, go straight for a gimmick. Like, I don't know. I don't really understand that.
Because what are they gonna, when you've done the tryout? What are they gonna do in a tryout? They're gonna make you show them that you can do basic shit.
Yeah.
And if you can't do basic shit, they're gonna tune you out day one of the tryout.
Yeah.
And they're gonna only focus on that guy because this guy can't even do a fucking front roll.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you watch the videos with the Performance Center, they literally are just doing rolls. Like one of my favorite videos is just, it's William Regal telling them, step forward with your left foot after rolls.
And they can't do it.
And every single person can't do it. Like, they just don't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is the most common sense, natural motion. How are you not doing that?
Here's another thing, right? Mm-hmm. This is why you have to have a really good basic foundation. Now, all these cats might be like, well, my gimmick is over. I know it. It's you know, who the fuck knows what over means? Like, you mean over at your local promotion that has 25 people there? Like, okay, because I've been in these situations before where they go get in the ring, put on a match. You and that guy over there, go in there and go put on a match. Now you have no time to discuss, hey, what's your gimmick? What's your stuff? You got to go in there and you got to figure it out in the ring. Yeah. And you're making me calling no serious high spots, right? Because they don't translate very well when you're calling it in the ring, right? The basic fundamentals translate very well when you're calling it in the ring.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to have that foundation. If you, like I said, there's no problem having a gimmick, hokey stuff, comedy, whatever. But the thing is, you got to pound the basic fundamentals into your brain to where it becomes second nature.
Because guess what? 9 times out of 10, whatever your gimmick is, if you get to WWE, they're just going to throw it out the window.
They'll probably give you something.
El Generico was great gimmick, but guess what? He could work. Yeah. So when he got there, like, well, you're not going to do that here. So they take his mask off, and he's still just as good as he was with the mask.
And they should have let him do it.
Here's the thing:
it would have a shelf life though.
And how do I know, like, these situations? Right, I've been in them. Me doing extra work, did a tryout match before SmackDown. Fidel and I, no discussion of no pre-planned stuff. Him and I in the ring on the spot, calling it in the ring in front of the SmackDown roster, in front of JBL, in front of Michael Hayes, in front of Dean Malenko, in front of some of the best wrestlers on the planet. We had no time. We had no time to call a match because they said, who's ready? And I raised my hand. And they said, who wants to go? Who wants to wrestle with them? And Fidel raised his hand. And they said, get in there. What are we going to say? Hey guys, give me a second. We got to go over. We got to come up with a match. No, they just said, go do a fucking match. So you say, okay, let's fucking do it. And that's it, man. So, yeah, interesting stuff.
Because maybe that's the only tryout match they're going to do all day. And the fact that you raised your hand and said, I'll do it, at least they're going to have seen you do something rather than, this guy didn't even raise his hand, didn't even want to do a tryout match.
And that's what Fidel brought up later. Because Fidel trained with Brian Kendrick for a little while, like 2 years or some shit like that. And Kendrick told Fidel sometimes when the extra talent get a chance to do tryout matches before SmackDown, they'll come out and say, okay, who's ready? And guess what? Nobody will raise their hand. And it's like that little few seconds of nobody raising their hands. They just go, okay, so nobody wants to wrestle? Okay, guys, go put your suits on. Yeah. Whatever, get out of your gear. Okay, could you imagine that? You're at WWE. This is the place where everybody wants to work. This is the place where we all watched wrestling growing up, right? And here's your one opportunity. Your one opportunity to get in the ring, and
even if you're shit,
you get
to be in a WWE ring and have a match.
Yes. And even if you're shit, you tried, right? And could you imagine that? Like, nobody raised their hand. You yourself didn't raise your hand, and you missed that opportunity. You missed that opportunity and who knows what can come from it. You might be the shits, but maybe somebody looks at you and goes, I think there's something here.
Or maybe you have one of your rare good days where you're on. Where you don't look like shit. Because that happens. Guys that are shitty have days where they're like, something's clicking. They can't figure out what it is. Maybe that's the one day that it happens, and you're like, oh shit, I just got signed off of that. Like something dumb like that. You'll never gonna know.
Did you ever do extra work?
No, I haven't.
No. You ever put the email in or anything like that?
I've thought about it. I just never got around to it.
Nah.
It was never. I never really wasn't really my goal. My wife wants me to do it.
Well, yeah.
she pushes me more than I do.
It's a good experience.
Yeah.
I think you should try it one day. I don't know how it works anymore. Like as far as like, because it used to be Raw Monday night, SmackDown taping Tuesday night. So and now I don't know how it's done, but I think it's a good experience, and it's good to go look behind the curtains.
Yeah.
Basically at WWE. You know, like this is a place that a lot of wrestlers want to go and be on the roster and get paid and travel with the WWE. So it's kind of it's a nice look behind the curtains of like what's the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, in catering, in the halls in the back and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's just I recommend it to any wrestler training, any current active wrestler. Go do that kind of stuff because you know you want to see what the environment's like. You know, it might not be for you. It might not be for you.
I was gonna say at this rate, who knows if they're even gonna ever do shows in front of people again? So.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing a WrestleMania's going to be in front of people.
Oh yeah, is that what they said?
Yep, they announced on Sunday that this year's Mania is in Tampa. It's 2 nights. They're going to have fans. They haven't announced how many yet.
Are they doing it at the Buck Stadium?
Yep, they're basically just doing what they did last year, what they were going to do last year.
Uh-huh.
And then next year they're doing it in Dallas, which again is I think them covering their own ass because even if this pandemic continues, people in Texas, you can still put people in that stadium. So, and the LA Mania has been moved to 2023.
I saw that, and if I'm still wrestling, maybe I can WrestleMania weekend. But so yeah, hopefully when I'm 40 years old, I will have an opportunity to wrestle on a Mania weekend.
Come out with me in April, Mike. We'll go together. We'll get you on
Florida?
some shows. Yeah,
Are you going?
I don't know. I'll probably go.
Big old mark right here, man. Damn.
Yeah, man. I've been to every Mania since 31. So.
How are they doing tickets?
They haven't announced that yet. So they're going to talk in a couple of weeks. I guess they're going to announce how they're going to do tickets. I'm sure it's not going to be full capacity, but even if it is, like, it's obvious you're going to have to wear a mask and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't made a decision if I actually want to go yet, but I really wanted to go last year, and I was kind of bummed I didn't get to go. So
Yeah.
it's fun to get away, even right now.
I do need to experience a Mania. I've never been to a Mania.
Really?
Yeah.
It is fun.
I do need to experience like a weekend of all the shows and all that kind of stuff. You ever done Mania?
Yeah, I went right before I got my surgery, so I want to go again to experience it properly as opposed to being a fat monster that couldn't walk down the street. So
You also bring your gear. You might get on a show.
yeah, of course.
Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
Which one did you go to?
I went to 31 at
San
Levi's,
Francisco. Yeah, San Jose. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Where was that?
San Jose.
Oh, at the Niners, Santa Clarita?
Yeah.
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That stadium was not built for a lot of people to be there at once.
Did you go to that one too?
Yeah. The hallways of just trying to get to the bathroom was like walking through like a sea of like humans where you're like, all right, I got to get there.
And the parking is awful.
Parking was awful.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
And then, it's San Francisco, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like it's like an hour away from San Francisco.
I know
Like,
what you're talking about. I went to a wedding in that area. Very nice area though.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful area.
Yeah.
But yeah, one day I'll get out to a WrestleMania. I just haven't done it yet. I've gone to a Royal Rumble, gone to a bunch of house shows, gone to a bunch of Raws in San Diego.
WrestleMania is a totally different experience.
Yeah.
Like it's because everyone there is a giant super wrestling nerd.
Yeah.
And like I remember leaving after Seth Rollins cashed in and the whole place is just losing their shit the entire time. Yeah.
Oh, that was a good ending.
Yeah, I even remember like when I was walking into the stadium, Mick Foley is just like being ridden around on a bike cart, and he just rode by. I was like, "That's Mick Foley."
That's the funniest part about that weekend is like if you're just walking around, just the people you just see. Like I ran into Baron Corbin at like a barbecue restaurant in Texas,
My dude.
and we had like a 2-second conversation, and then we fist bumped, and that was like
My boy right there.
Yeah, it's like
I just remember the hotel. We were in like Fairfield, which is like half an hour north, and just everyone in that hotel we're so far away. It's still wrestling fans. You have 2 people dressed up as the Dudley Boys just walk in.
Did you go to any of the indie shows around the area?
I went to Ring of Honor that weekend. I want to say Samoa Joe. It was right before Samoa Joe went to NXT. I don't remember who he wrestled. It might have been Jay Briscoe. It was awesome. I saw Dave Meltzer there. First time I ever.
I rode an elevator with Dave Meltzer. Devin and I did. It was the weirdest.
The greatest wrestler of all time.
Dave Meltzer?
Yeah. If you hear him talk, you'd think he was the greatest wrestler of all time.
There's just like this awkward just pause of just we're all just staring at each other, and I look at Devin. I'm like, I don't even know if Devin knows if this is Dave Meltzer or not. And I was like, see you later, Dave. And he's like, thanks.
I've seen him a couple times at PWG and stuff like that, but that was the first time I like went up to him. I was like, hi, Dave, how you doing? This again before
he's
I
friendly.
was wrestling.
He is friendly.
How many WrestleManias you been to, Adam?
I went to 21, 26, and then everyone since 31. So about 6 of them.
So do you go to the indie shows in the area also?
The last time I went to Mania in New Orleans, I did like 6 indie shows in addition to WrestleMania and SmackDown and Raw, and I will never do that again.
Too much.
I was so burnt out. Like when I went to the one in New York 2 years ago, I only went to Mania and NXT, and that was it.
Now, what's that WrestleMania weekend or week? What does it start, like Thursday night?
Yeah, it starts earlier every year because sometimes they'll have like Wally Mania on like Wednesday or Thursday before this shit kicks off, before any of these wrestlers get busy. And then they'll have an indie show on like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday they don't do anything. And
so what's more fun for you? Is it actually the independent shows running all over the place, or is it WrestleMania?
WrestleMania is the most fun thing to attend, just as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy going to all the other shows and seeing people I didn't think I'd ever see in WWE, but now I do see them in WWE. So
it definitely wasn't as cool in my like going to the indie shows because I had the PWG experience, so I'd already seen a lot of those guys before.
Yeah.
But I got to see Joe live for the first time, and that was really cool. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Nakamura live was an NXT like live event in Bakersfield, and I was like, "This is awesome!" You know.
Yeah, man.
But it is something I suggest that everybody, even if you are a worker who doesn't like consider yourself a super fan, just go. Just once, just go to a couple of shows, go to WrestleMania, just experience it because it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's like a Super Bowl weekend type of deal, but a Super Bowl you can actually afford to go to.
I will say though, from my experience at WrestleMania, if you can't get seats that are like really, really close because they're too expensive, just sit at the top.
Yeah,
you're going to be staring at the screen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to spend $400 and you're still like looking at ants.
Yeah, I made it a point the last couple of times I go is like, I'm spending the most I can to sit as close as I can. Like in Orlando, my seats were great. Like I could see the ring. I could actually hear them bumping. I didn't have to look at the screen. Mm-hmm. Whereas the year before in Dallas, I think I spent like $50 less and I had to look at the big screen in Dallas the whole time. So yeah, it's worth it to spend the money if you're closer because in a stadium, like it's so unwatchable if you're like not close enough. You might as well just watch the screen the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, man. One day I'll get there. So see what happens.
Flights are cheap right now. You might as well go this year.
Just book it now.
I have friends in Tampa that are wrestling every weekend, so because Florida doesn't care.
Yeah,
Florida
don't
doesn't
give a damn.
That's my one concern with going there is like I know I'll be safe and I know I'll avoid like the people like if I go anywhere I'm gonna see family out there and I know that they're being safe too, but it's the concern of who am I going to be sitting next to on the plane? Who am I going to be sitting next to in the venue? Like those kinds of things. Like, because that's how you get sick. That's how you get this thing. You get sick because you're near someone who's not concerned. But we'll see.
Adam.
Yes, sir.
We got some questions, right?
We do have some questions. If you'd like to bring the mood down now, we can.
We're bringing the mood. Oh, that's right. One of the questions is, let's do it.
All right, so let's kick it off. Petey with his now routine off-the-wall question of the week. Aloha, Hogs and Shaw. Mike, do you have a comment about that?
Never say that again, Petey.
Okay. My question is a little morbid, so don't think about it too hard. Okay. If you had 1 month to live and knew the exact second you drop dead, what's the final match you think you could realistically have in your final moments, and what is the spot you plan so you die at the best moment possible? Thanks and happy hogging.
Hey, Shaw, you wanna take a crack at that one first, or you want me to answer first?
I want to beat the crap out of Petey. That's the match I want to have, and the ending is me dropping him on his head, literally right before.
So you want to basically, you're gonna die, so you want to take somebody with you on the way out.
Not just someone, specifically Pete.
Specifically Pete.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a month to live, the last thing I'd probably be worrying about is wrestling.
I mean, yeah.
I'd probably, my last moments I'd want to spend with my wife. I wouldn't be like, oh, let's go. I'm going to go out on this spot. No, fuck all this, man.
What if your wife is in the match with you?
What
if you spend the last month training her to have one match?
As absurd as this question is, adding my wife is even more absurd. Because she'd be like, I'm not doing that. I don't give a damn if you have 1 second left of your life. Like, I'm not doing that.
What if it saved your life? Would she then do it? If you tell her,
I hope so.
Beth, you have to take 2 bumps.
I think she would do that.
Okay.
If it was to save my life,
yes.
I'm pretty sure she likes me. So I think she would try and save
You'd
me.
hope so.
But I don't think the last thing on my mind would probably be pro wrestling if I had 1 month to live. Right?
No. I love wrestling a lot, but not that much.
I mean, not realistically, exaggerated, I guess you could say. Like, you want me to have a spot, I'm going to do a goddamn moonsault off the Empire State Building. You're going to go anyway, you might as well. Onto Devin Sparks. And Devin's coming with me. Because he'll, right? That's got to kill the other person, right?
Probably.
Unless he rolls like a bitch.
I mean, apparently you can kill someone by dropping a penny off of that thing.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. Did you ever go to the Empire State Building when you were a kid? He's a New York guy.
When my mom was never like, let's go see touristy shit because we live there. That's kind of like the way it is. It's like when you live here, it's like some people here go to the beach, but like most people when they come here, like, let's go to the beach. But you're like, I don't care.
I grew up in LA and I literally never went to Hollywood until I was 19.
Yeah. It's one of those things like, yeah, the Statue of Liberty's there. I've never been to it.
Yeah. What area of New York did you grow up in?
I grew up in Long Island.
Long Island. How far away is that? Because Manhattan is where Empire State Building and
so
Statue of Liberty
on a good traffic day, maybe 3 hours.
Fuck all that.
Bad traffic day, you're talking about 6 hours probably.
Fuck
sitting
all
in.
that.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that shit.
That's why you take the train. That's why everyone in New York uses public transportation, doesn't really drive.
Yeah.
Because it's quicker to just take the train into Yankee Stadium or Citi Field rather than trying to drive there because it's a 4-hour drive. But if you like the comfort of sitting in your car and being able to listen to the radio and not possibly sitting next to a man who hasn't showered in 4 days, then it could be ideal, I guess.
It's funny because everyone says how bad LA's public transportation is, and I actually used the subway in LA a lot when I was in college because I didn't have a car, and I would just meet my now wife like halfway up to her house. I would just take the train, and I was like, I mean, for the one place that I need to go, it's very convenient. I couldn't go anywhere else. But that's because LA is 10 times as big as New York. So,
speaking of college, you're still in school.
I'm getting my master's degree. I'm almost done.
What are you getting your master's in?
Education. I'm trying to be a teacher.
Ah, smart guy. Smart guy. You have a history major, right?
Yeah.
Or,
my bachelor's degree is in history. Yeah.
What kind of history?
So because I wanted to be a teacher, it kind of forced me to do American and world history and just kind of like the basic stuff. But I had a really good. It changes day to day. So like I'll have a kick where I'm just reading about Germany and like German unification for like a month, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, well now I'm gonna read about the Civil War. Like it really just depends on the time. I went into college thinking I'd like U.S. history, but by the time I was done, I was much more a world history guy because it's much more big picture as opposed to like when you're doing history at like the undergraduate like college level, like you're studying very specific chunks of time and not like how like a history 101 class would be like, oh, you're covering U.S. history from like the Civil War to now. Whereas like when you're doing what I was doing, like here's a history class, just the U.S. from 1968 to now. And it was...
As someone teaching history, are you like dreading 20 years from now when you have to talk about this time period right now?
Well,
I would just be like, ugh, can we just pretend this time period didn't exist?
I don't know if I'd be dreading it. It'd be interesting to talk about because it's like a lived thing.
Yeah.
It's funny because like right now I'm not actually teaching really. Like I'm working as like because of COVID, the school district I work for, they're kind of like having kids like in small groups they're just doing their online classes, but in the room. And I'm just there to be like tech support basically. I'm technically a sub. But it's funny talking to them because like I'm realizing now that they're freshmen, and I'm like, you were born when I was a freshman. Like, that's the age difference. And I'm like, this is weird. And like thinking about the idea that they didn't even they weren't alive for 9/11.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so insane to me. I mean, I was only 10, but like, I remember it, you know.
I was 18, 19.
Teacher is also a great job for a wrestler. Like if you keep wrestling after you start teaching, it's a perfect job because you have the weekends off. You get 3 months off during the summer.
Yeah.
If shit goes back to normal with teaching. And
I got a question for you, Shaw. So where we're at like right now with the U.S., right? Kind of a turbulent time, I guess you'd say.
I guess you could say that.
Is this is there anything in the past, like, you know, history repeats itself, basically? Is this anything you can kind of seem similar? Any other kind of country, any kind of civilization, anything like that you see like, oh man, by the way, this is bad, guys. When you get to this point in your empire, your republic, whatever, it's all downhill from here.
I'm not super good with ancient history, but I know there's a lot of parallels to the Roman Republic and the Empire and like that transition and the fall of the Roman Empire. But again, I'm not educated enough on all the details for that. But I mean, even with COVID, like people don't realize that like literally 100 years ago, the Spanish flu, like a lot of the same stuff, people not wanting to wear masks, like a lot of the same stuff is at the same time. The problem with this year was you had 1968 civil rights unrest, the Spanish flu, and a guy that's pretty close to Hitler all at the same time.
Yeah.
It was just a triple whammy of shit.
Yeah. Trifecta.
But like at least like as bad as COVID is, the Spanish flu was worse. I think 1 million people died of the Spanish flu in the United States. A lot more people died around the world of that. Like I think India had something like 20 million people died. But I wouldn't say there's like one specific like thing, because 2020 sucked, but like 1968 sucked, but it sucked for different reasons, you know. So like there's different moments of like not necessarily repeating itself, but like I always say, like Donald Trump, as bad as he is as a president, and I'm pretty far left in my politics, probably further left than people that say they're left aren't left. Like people that like are like Obama's a socialist. I'm like, I'm an actual socialist. Obama is not a socialist. But yeah, it's all shitty. It's all symptoms of a larger problem, you know. But I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of like capitalism is the devil, you know. Shaw and I one night were at training, and we just had a brief discussion about like U.S. history, and me, Mr. like, you know, community college history, U.S. history 101, U.S. history 102. I'm like, hell yeah, USA. Because if you look at like the history of like this country, we kicked fucking ass, bro. We kicked fucking ass. Every aspect of everything. And then Shaw looks at me and goes, you drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you? I'm like, well, I thought that's what it was. You know, I thought that's not real. Anyways, it's not that it's not real. It's just it's a lot more complicated than that. Yeah, but you know, like every civilization, every country's gonna have. You got to do some shit. Yeah. To build, you know, the country or keep it going. You know, point out one civilization, country, whatever that's absolutely flawless and perfect. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It does not exist. You know, and is shit fucked up right now in this country? Hell yeah. But there's always been something. There's always been something where it's like, this ain't right. This ain't right. It's got to change. And it's like, yeah, man, it's just called progression. You know, you try and do the best you can. You try to do the best you can.
At least after tomorrow, there'll be one less thing for people to complain about and be upset about.
Man,
I'll just complain about Joe Biden instead. I literally looking at what he's going to do. I'm like, I told my friend this the other day. I'm like, all right, Joe Biden day one, friggin' awesome. But the next 3 years and 364 days, terrible.
We'll see what happens, man. I'm actually interested to see what goes down tomorrow. If we're gonna see some protesting.
Did you see all that
riots.
shit where like they vetted a bunch of these National Guard guys and like they removed them because they found out they were like, I don't know, they had some background that made them look sketchy for like maybe being like inside men.
I saw something where it was like I only saw 2 National Guard guys got removed.
I think it ended up being a lot more. I don't know for certain, but
oh, what a surprise.
It's gonna be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, man, Let's move on with our questions, though.
All right, yeah. The second question is from Find Roman on Instagram, and he asks, what do you feel is a good match that can serve as an introduction into wrestling? I don't know. Is this for like people who you want to like it, or like people you're bringing in to train? Like,
yeah, because I have a really good answer for someone that's like new to wrestling.
I
like
think,
someone that's trying to be a wrestler. Like, I have a match that I always recommend to people if they want to like know basic match structure. But if they mean like a fan, that's a different question.
All right, so you're talking about a match you show a young wrestler,
yes,
or like a new trainee,
yes.
All right, go.
So like someone that comes in and is like, oh, what's a good match to like know, like shine, heat, off, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I always say WrestleMania 21, Triple H and Batista, because Batista is still very green, and I talked about on the Edge and Christian podcast how he didn't want to turn babyface. He's like, I don't want to do moves, I just want to get beat up. And
don't we all?
It was that interview was hilarious. But I always say, like, if you watch it, you can see the basics. Like, it's a very clear Batista shine. Triple H cuts him off dirty. The heat is very obvious. Hope spots are there. Like, it's so formulaic and by the books, and it's good in that way because it's really good to show people. And it's like, guys, this was the main event of WrestleMania. Like, if it worked for them, it's gonna work for you. You know?
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of don't try to rewrite the book until you've gotten the basic storytelling down.
Yeah.
So
I think Triple H in general is a lot of his matches are probably good for people who are just starting because he usually follows the formula to a T in most of his matches.
Yeah.
It's just good. It's just good, solid.
He's solid.
Match work. Yeah.
It's not gonna, there's not gonna be a ton of like high spots and shit, but that doesn't need to happen in every match.
Yeah. Now, okay, let's say you have to introduce a friend to wrestling. That's like, hey, they don't really like wrestling, but you're like, hey, watch this match and tell me what you think of it. Is there anything that sticks out that you'd be like, yeah, here we go, check this out?
I remember the first match I showed my wife's grandparents was Nakamura and Sami Zayn from TakeOver.
Match.
Yeah,
great match.
Just because like that is so like up and down, and like it's very good to like, this is the drama of wrestling. Like, I feel like Nakamura towards the end of his New Japan run, and like, I don't know if it's so much that he's being misused in WWE or he's just surfing, so he's not as concerned with having like the best matches ever. But like Nakamura and Ibushi from Wrestle Kingdom 9, I think that's another one where I'm like, if you want to see people beat the crap out of each other, but yeah, Nakamura and Sami Zayn's probably my go-to of like, this is professional wrestling. Yeah.
That's a match I saw live, and I was so bummed that, like, because my mom came out for that Mania, I was like, if my mom had been there to see this match, I think she would have got the wrestling thing with me. Like, I think she would have understood it.
Okay.
Because that match is incredible, and it's only better when you're there to see it. And
yeah.
It's like, I'm like,
I think I would have to. I mean, if it was just a fan, like somebody who'd never watched wrestling before, I'd probably have to say Macho Steamboat WrestleMania 3. That's just a great match. I mean, that can also go towards a new wrestler, right? Like, hey guys, watch this match. Probably any Flair match to a new wrestler. Just go here, man. Watch any of his old stuff. This is how you fucking work the crowd. This is how you get heat, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's probably my answer. Like Macho and Steam. That's a fantastic match. And it's probably like 12 minutes that they went.
I think so. Yeah, it's pretty short.
Because I wouldn't want to show a very long match to a brand new wrestling fan.
Yeah,
I'd want to show them something.
And you don't want to show them something so crazy that they think everything in wrestling is like that.
Yeah,
like you could show them a Young Bucks PWG match, but it's gonna be 6 minutes, but it's gonna be all flipping and diving and shit.
It's funny because that's kind of what happened to my wife. The very first match she watched, I don't know if it was the very first match. One of the first matches she watched, we watched TLC 2015. We had just started dating, and I think the first match was like the triple threat tag team ladder match where like Kalisto does the friggin' Salida del Sol off the ladder into the other ladder, and that was like her first like match ever. And to this day she's like, I want to watch a TLC match, and I'm like, why? They're all the same after a while.
Yes, they definitely are.
I think it also had to depend on like who I'm talking to, right? Like, let's say like you're talking to like a buddy who's way into MMA, and they're like, oh, fuck all that, pro wrestling stuff. That's
O'Reilly and Balor.
There you go. Or I'd be like, here, watch something from Japan, like New Japan, where it's like them motherfuckers train MMA and then incorporate it into their match, structure and all that kind of stuff. So It probably just a lot of it would be like, okay, who am I talking to?
Yeah.
You know, what are they like? Are they like, you know, are they an MMA guy, or are they like somebody who likes comedy? Okay, here.
Speaking of MMA, are you going to be watching the fight on Saturday?
McGregor and Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good match, good rematch. Yeah, well, I mean, no, it's on pay-per-view. I won't watch it.
Yeah,
because I'm not gonna pay for it. But I did watch the one this past weekend. Did you watch that? Did you follow MMA at all?
I follow it. I don't really watch it.
Man.
I'll probably watch the McGregor fight, but I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, this past weekend, Max Holloway fought a dude named Calvin Kadar and beat the brakes.
Is that the guy that was like taunting as like they were fighting? Like he was talking shit
kind
towards the
of,
end?
but it wasn't like, it was not until like the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
And I mean, this Max Holloway guy looks like he's the best. I think it's 145 that they fight at. He looked amazing.
Did they have people at that? Like fans?
Yeah, it was over in Saudi Arabia.
Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah. They had a few people over there. And yeah, man, that Max Holloway guy looks like a killer. That Calvin Kadar guy, one of those guys who's too tough for his own good, because he got the brakes beat off for 5 minutes, didn't go down once. And I was like, after round 4, I thought either the ref needed to stop it or the cornerman needed to stop it. They put his ass back out there, and he finished that 5th round. And man, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, somebody, can somebody stay with him the rest of the night, and make sure he's okay, because that's the kind of stuff where you're like, dude, there's a lot of CTE going on right there. So, but yeah, I'll probably watch. I mean, I don't know. I'll somehow either read or watch it. I don't know, but it's on ESPN, and you got to do all this stuff.
Yeah, it's ESPN Plus, and you got to pay for it. I think it's like $70.
I'll read about it I'll read the updates.
They'll post on Twitter like a quick video snippet of the end, so that's all I really need to see.
There it is.
I've always thought it was so silly. You pay $70 for something that might go 2 minutes. You're like, geez.
Like an old Mike Tyson fight.
Yeah,
remember that? It used to be like 2 minutes, and you'd be like, I just paid $70 for this.
Even when Ronda was at her peak, like when she was like fighting people that she could kick the shit out of, like this lasted 30 seconds. Why did I pay $50 for this?
You know what's funny is so remember Strike Force?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So Strike Force is a promotion that used to run on Showtime, I believe.
Yeah.
And Ronda Rousey, they were huge with the female wrestling. Like they started it before.
This is when Dana was like, "I'm never gonna have women fight in the UFC."
Exactly.
Right? It was when UFC bought Strike Force that they're like, okay, we'll have women now.
So they had a show in San Diego a handful of years ago. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And Rousey was the champion, so she was the main event. She was going up against a girl, I think named Sarah Kaufman. And so I was there, free tickets. I was there like almost like cage side. Like I was right there on the floor. And the fight happened. It lasted like 2 minutes. Armbar submission, win for Rousey. And they're coming out of the cage, and my buddy and I are right there on the barrier. And people are like going crazy for Ronda Rousey. And Judo Jean LaBelle was her cornerman, and I'm yelling at, like, I'm going crazy for him. I'm like, Gene, and he came over and took a picture with me. It was sweet, dude.
I have a funny story about Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
So because I'm trying to be a teacher, Ronda Rousey's sister is a teacher at a middle school in Sylmar, and I did my student teaching with her as my master teacher.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. So Jennifer Rousey was my master teacher, and I remember we were at lunch one day, and my wife also used to work at that school, and she was the one that was there, and she was it was right before WrestleMania when Ronda main evented, and she's like, yeah, we're supposed to go to New York for some fight. I don't know anything about it. And my wife and one of the other teachers like, you mean WrestleMania? She literally had no concept of wrestling or MMA.
Yeah.
And she literally said, she told me once, she's like, yeah, every athletic bone in my family went to my sisters, not me.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
she doesn't have a judo background?
I mean, she did it as a kid, but she didn't actually like
Pursue it
No,
as
not
hard.
at all, yeah.
Interesting.
Do you think that happens with like football players when they're like, I'm going to some game in Florida? I don't know. I'm going to the Super Bowl?
I'm going to watch some foosball game.
Yeah.
Actually, I met Rhonda one time backstage in Anaheim. Very nice. She came up to, it was Che, myself, and somebody else. And we were talking, and she came walking up to us and just said, "Hey, I'm Rhonda." And we're like, "Yeah, in our head, we're like, we know." But she was very nice, man. Shook our hands. She was very cool, man. Very nice.
The thing she does online is such a gimmick. Like people fall for it all the time, and I'm like, everything I've ever seen from her is she seems really nice.
Yeah.
But she does that gimmick where she shit talks fans and shit talks wrestlers, and I'm like, she's working everybody. Like, how do you not see that? Like,
Nothing wrong with that.
it's
Sell
fine.
some tickets.
It works because there's a lot of those marquee fans that take
Yeah.
it seriously and they hate her.
Yep. All right, what else we got?
All right, we got a question, I guess, from the Level Up School.
Oh, okay. And this is for is this for Shaw? I believe this is for Shaw.
I think so.
All right, let's go.
What has he learned now coming to Level Up, and what he thinks of the product?
So anybody out there, Shaw has recently moved down to San Diego. You're a San Diegan
Yes.
now.
It's wonderful.
You've been like what? You've been here for like 2 months?
Yeah, we moved at the end of October. So,
Cool. And now you're training at Level Up. How you liking it? What's going on?
I love it. I mean, it's nice just to have somewhere to train that's 10 minutes away. But it's definitely been a lot different in that, number one, you guys have training a lot more often than what I'm used to. Like, there's morning classes, there's night classes, there's classes on the weekend, there's classes not on the weekend. Like, I can pretty much just pick and choose, like, hey, I want to go now. But as far as, like, things I could learn, or things I have learned, it's definitely expanded my horizons. Like I said, when I would train with Skyfire, it was a lot of doing the same things over and over again, which, again, I stress is super important. But I like that, like, with Benny, like, he's like, well, why don't you try this? And I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. And, like, it makes me think out of the box, which I didn't used to do as much. And I could see it in my work a lot of the times. Like, I'm just resorting to body slam leg drop all the time. And
Proven.
Well, yes. Yes, 100%. But it's nice to have that, like, extra, like, well, what if you try this move?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, that works perfect. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But, just gotten to in a different way.
Yeah.
So
Benny's very good at that.
I know.
Benny's very, very good, because even when I started training Level Up, and Benny would just kind of be like, show me something that was very cool, but so simple also. Yeah. And it's like, all right, I'm putting that in my back pocket, and I'm using it whenever it's necessary, basically.
I was gonna say, you did the same thing for me. Like,
what the fuck did I do?
Dude, some of the little stuff, like just working the arm, like I never even thought of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they just like pull their arm and hit him in the armpit practically. I'm like, that's genius. How did I never think of that? You know?
If you talk to Mike and about his wrestling ability, you would think Mike is like the shits. The way Mike talks about himself sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, Mike, I watch you and like you're one of the most fluid guys I see. So obviously,
if you don't know what you're doing, none of us do.
Yeah.
It's like the other day when Andy Brown was like, I'm gonna retire, and it's like, Andy, if you retire, we all should retire. Like,
but yeah, it sounds like you've done a very good job of kind of moving around and getting some new trainers. Like, that's a huge thing, is kind of, if you stick with one trainer too long, they're eventually going to show you everything they know. So you got to kind of keep jumping around and picking, hey, I got this, knowledge from this guy, and I got this knowledge from this guy. So you training with Peter, training with Ray, training with Sapphire, like
Skyfire.
Skyfire.
Yeah.
Skyfire. That's a good foundation as far as like a good, well-rounded stuff, and that's kind of what you need to do, is keep moving around.
Yeah.
That kind of like is what almost led me to that Level Up with Benny. It's like, well, all my original trainers retired, moved away, and so I got to find somebody else to teach me some stuff, man, because it's hard to teach yourself.
Oh yeah,
it's hard to teach yourself. And yeah, I Level Up has done a very good job of having different trainers there. You got Hunter helping people out, you got Benny helping people out. I go there and I do my best.
You're fine.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, man, it sounds like you got a good knowledge.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the other part of the question was the product, and all I can say is like the new guys. So Leo, Fab, Cam, as much as I'd hate him, Petey, Petey's almost there, and like they're so good for having like less than 5 matches. It's insane. Granted, part of it's because they've basically been training the last 6 months with nothing to look forward to.
Yeah.
So like they're getting enough training to like there's no choice, because they probably would have debuted sooner. But yeah, it blows me away how good they are. And like maybe it's just I also debuted after 6 weeks of training, which was not a good idea.
About same here.
Yeah, so I'm a bad example. When I watch my old matches, I'm like, why am I there?
What do you think is the best length of time, like from training to first match? How long do you think Like ideally, if you're talking to a new student,
it really depends on the person, because some people are going to pick it up easier than others. Yeah. Like as much as I like shit on me debuting after 6 weeks, in a way I was kind of ready, and as ready as someone at 6 weeks is going to be. Like I could bump, I was selling okay, like I could do the moves, like, but that doesn't mean I was ready. It was just like, oh, we have a birthday party and we need someone to bump. Like, here you go. You know, and I did a good job. So they're like, well, we're going to put you in. MPW at the time was doing weekly Friday shows. And they're like, well, you're here. And I was going every week to help set up. They're like, well, you're here every week. We might as well do something with you.
Yeah.
Here's a mask, you know.
I actually asked that question to Gangrel because, you know, he's got his school out in Florida. And this is back when I was up in Portland with him at WCWC. I asked him, like, you know, what's the amount of time you want to train a person before they debut? And he told me 2 years. He goes, 2 years. That's the time I want to work with a person before they debut. And as much as that kind of, if I was somebody who's looking to be a professional wrestler and train, and you hear 2 years, you go, God damn, that's a long time.
That's a lot of money that you're taking from me.
But also, now that I've seen, like, so we just had Cam, we just had Fab, Leo, even Dom. These cats probably. So Cam was at Lance Storm's place prior to coming to Level Up, so he's probably been training for over a year, probably about a year and a half, right? Dom, I swear, Dom wrestled or trained for about 3 fucking years before he debuted,
and he still hasn't wrestled in front of people.
I know, that's the funny thing.
That's the craziest thing.
And then you have Fab and Leo that probably have been training, probably close to a year.
I think a little more than that.
And they, you know, their debut matches a lot better than my debut match, straight up, 100%. So when, you know, it's funny because, like, I hear Gangrel say that 2 years, and if I was a brand new wrestling kid starting, I'd be like, God damn, that's a long time. But then now that I see the results of people that have been training for a good amount of time, and then they finally get a chance to debut, and how they debut and how good they look, I go, God, that's the right fucking answer, man. That's the right answer. Because I was like you, I was real quick to debut, and I look back at it now and I go, can somebody please erase these matches off YouTube, because they are the shits.
I'd probably say 6 months to a year if I had to, like, guess. But again, it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Like, some people are going to pick it up faster than others.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. So with Leo came in, and he's very athletic as far as, like, good. His movement is very good. All this kind of stuff. He picks things up really quickly. I was like, this kid's got it. You know, like, this kid's gonna be very good. Fab, I looked at him and I go, I don't think he's gonna make it. I don't think this kid's gonna make it. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm judging people. I don't know.
Oh, people said that about me.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. We can judge all we want. Mm-hmm. You know, that person, you got to prove it. Mm-hmm. You know, and Fab didn't stop, man. Fab showed up class after class after class, and finally you're like, yo, this kid, he's got it. You know, like, somehow he made it, and he's still fucking, and he just debuted. He's looking great, and you know, it's just you never know what you're gonna get out of a person that comes in. Some people naturally pick it up, boom, boom, boom. Some people take a little bit longer, but then they end up being very good. So, what's the right time? Yeah, it's different for everybody. Mm-hmm. But the more time you put in training and delay that debut as much as you want to debut, if you just listen to your trainer and say, hey, man, it's not yet. If they tell you it's not yet. The second they let you loose, you're gonna blow some minds.
I actually, because up in NorCal they just did the Young Lions Cup or whatever, and with SoCal Uncensored doing the Rookie of the Year, which is weird that they're doing it with
this
people.
Year.
Yeah. But I was thinking about it, and I was messaging. I was talking to Remy, my friend, one of the wrestlers at Level Up, and I was saying how, like, I kind of wish that I had delayed because I didn't get to have a normal rookie year.
Really?
Like, I never got any recognition from, like, Rookie of the Year for that, or, like, I didn't get to have that because I debuted in 6 weeks. I was a banana for the first, like, 4 or 5 months, and then once I finally debuted as Malcor, my old gimmick, like, because the way they do Rookie of the Year is, like, August to August,
some shit like that.
Yeah, and I debuted in June, so, like, that isn't gonna work, you know. So, like, it's just I didn't get to have that proper first year because I didn't really get a proper chance to like debut and be ready, or at least kind of ready. Like, I watched my very first Malcor match, and my heat is literally 3 body slams.
Fuck yeah.
Just one, and I'm just like one after the other. I'm like, I don't know how to do anything. I'm like, I can tell. I can see it in my eyes. I'm like, I don't know what else to do, so I'm going to body slam him again.
Hell yeah. When in doubt, body slam, motherfucker.
But, yeah, it sucks because, like, I see the Young Lions Cup, and I'm like, I could have done that, you know? And, like, I'm friends with Super Beetle, and he did it when he had his first, year. And,
yeah.
Like, I was like,
I never did the I didn't do the Young Lions either.
Yeah.
And I ended up knowing.
Yeah, but you were Rookie of the Year.
I was.
You're the last non-Santinos guy.
There you go. And actually, I know Sparky Ballard now. It's funny because like I didn't meet him until I was about like 3 years in or some shit like that. Like, I met him up in Portland also, and I was like, "When can I do that Young Lions thing?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't think you're allowed to anymore." And I'm like, "Ah, you're right. God damn it." Screwed out of an
You have
opportunity.
to just throw on a mask and have a new gimmick and
I know.
claim you're a rookie.
I know, man. I know. That'd be funny, huh? If you just kept just a new character
Every
and,
year you're
and
just
nobody
a
knew who you were, and you just kept debuting as a rookie. That'd be great.
Oh, if that counted, then Sweet Robin definitely should have gotten Rookie of the Year.
There you go. There you go. Sweet Robin. What was the big change between Malcor and Sweet Robin? What happened with that?
So Malcor, I lost my mask, which was mostly because I couldn't breathe in that thing, and I was like, please get this off of me. I originally started with a mask because I had a really bad problem smiling when I was wrestling. I was just like, I'm having so much fun. So they're like, well, I'll just cover my mouth.
You had the Daniel Bryan disorder. You just smile all the time. You're like, can you stop doing that?
So once I eventually got over that, and I was like, okay, well, guys, like, this mask is hard to breathe in, so can I lose it?
Was that mask made for you?
I had it custom made.
Oh, really?
So my original mask was just some cheap Sub-Zero Elucha mask.
Fuck yeah.
But it was red. That one was actually pretty breathable. But then when I made my own custom one, which is the same basic idea, but with like teeth in the front, and it looked cool, but like they forgot to actually have like an air hole, like they did in the regular one. So I just couldn't breathe in it. And then I did that for about 1.5 years, and then I was like, okay, guys, let's get this thing off. So I lost a mask versus title match, because what else are you gonna do when you have a mask on? And then I did Malcor without a mask, and it didn't work. Like, it didn't work the way I wanted it to. It wasn't like when Kane lost his mask where he was still a crazy monster. Like, I was just like, I'm just me. And then I started doing the level up showcases.
Yeah, because when I first met you, you were Malcor still.
Yes, but I didn't have the mask on.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I did that a couple times. I tried face paint. Like, I was just trying to find stuff that would make it still be Malcor. But then I just realized, I'm like, I should just be me. Like, me turned up. So I didn't change the name initially, but I had basically changed characters already. Like, we did the Millennium when MPW versus Level Up, and we came out to the Backstreet Boys. Like, were you there?
Was that one of the Level Up shows?
Yeah, it was a Level Up show.
I don't remember I can't remember. I can't remember being that.
Yeah, no, it was me, Moon, and Chuck, and we came out to the Backstreet Boys, and we had.
I do remember that. Yes, you guys were wearing like all white.
Yeah, we had white fucking button-up shirts, and that was pretty much like I was already like experimenting and changing things. Like at MPW, I was still Malcor the Monster, but at Level Up, I was already turning into Sweet Robin.
Yeah.
And then I switched to Trunks, and then I did Championship Wrestling from Arizona, and I was still Malcor. And we go through, and then Peter and Ray come up to me, and they're like, hey, we're changing your name. And I'm like, and literally I was like, well, what do you got? Because like I had already wanted to, but I didn't really want to put the effort into thinking of something new. And they're like, how about Sweet Robin Shaw? And I was like, I love it. That sounds amazing. You know, because they were like, you should have like a feminine name. It's kind of like Tiny, you know, naming a big monster guy Tiny. And I was like, that's perfect. And then the sweet was supposed to be ironic, you know, like he's sweet. You know? Yeah. And then I go to Hollywood, and they're like, we're gonna put you with Jervis, and you're sweet because you like candy. It's like you're like actually sweet, you know, because the Friendship Farm. And I was like, okay, I'll run with that. Yeah. What? Yes, sir. Whatever you say, Yuma.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in, you know? And I did that for a while, and I just recently turned on Jervis because fuck that guy.
There you go. Good turn. Time
to be a bad guy. Time to murder.
It's so much funner being a bad guy too, man.
Being a babyface is easier for me.
Really?
Like the fire and like I'm good at that.
Okay, yeah.
Especially in a tag team, like a hot tag, that's my jam. Like I can do that all day. But being a heel is so much more fun.
So much more fun.
This is the first time I've ever heard someone say that being a face is easier for them. Because usually people say being heel is easy.
Some people are natural, man. Like
But-
Hunter can't. Like Hunter is just naturally a babyface. Like
You'd have to like put him with someone who would talk for him, right? Like that's how you'd have to turn him heel.
I don't
basically.
even know that. I remember one time. So we were at Expo Lucha, and Daniel Moon, myself, and Hunter teamed against Adrian Quest, Fuego del Sol, and Arrow Boy, and Daniel Moon, myself, and Hunter are supposed to be the heels, right? Or a little bit more heelish.
Oh no.
So Moon's a good heel.
Oh, he's excellent.
I feel more comfortable as a heel. Hunter, it's like, it's so funny because Moon and I are trying to be like bad guys, and then you have like Hunter just being like, "Hey everybody," like slapping hands like with the fans and stuff, and we're just like, it's just so funny to watch Hunter to try and be a heel. But some people just natural, man. Some people can be dickheads. Some people can't. It's just.
They're different, like I think in ring it's easier for me to be a babyface because especially as a big guy, I sell a lot, and I see other big guys that don't sell at all, and I'm like, well, guys, I don't care if you're 300 pounds, you get punched in the face, it hurts. Act like it hurts.
What's the worst is the people that they want to be heels, but they still look for the approval from the fans.
They want to do moves.
They want to get the pop.
They want to be the cool
crowd.
heel.
They want to be. I don't even know if they want to be the cool heel, but it's like, hey, dog, if you're trying to like get the adulation from the crowd, just go face, dog.
I want a grandma to stab me. That is my goal when I'm a bad guy.
At least I want an old lady to throw a punch at me.
Yeah.
Like I want something like that. But I hate when I see like people that are wrestlers that are in the heel role, but they're still looking to get applause from the fans. It's like, no, as a heel, you do not give a fuck about the fans. Actually, you don't want them to clap. You want to take away what they want to see.
Yeah.
You want to take that away. So when somebody goes up for their spectacular move that the crowd has been waiting to see from them, you want to take that away from them.
You just roll out of the ring.
I'm telling you.
Now you can't do the move.
I'm telling you.
But instead, they want to come up with a cool reversal of the move, which is
exactly.
It's going to make the people pop. But
my cool reversal is punch them in the face.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Disrupt it.
Yep.
Disrupt them a little bit by punching them in the face. But that's all the questions, huh?
Yep.
So cool, man. Excellent.
We stretched it out. So.
We did stretch it out. We had a good time. Hey, you were just on the SoCal Pro Wrestling podcast. Mm-hmm. Got released today.
Yeah,
we're recording on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So go listen to that, people.
Yes, please do.
It's on Apple Podcast.
I think it's on like all of them.
It's on a few things.
Yeah. It wasn't on Spotify because I tried to listen to yours and I couldn't find it on Spotify.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I ended up watching, I think, on Stitcher. Yeah.
But anyways, go check out Sweet Robin Shaw's interview on SoCal Pro Wrestling Podcast. And that's about it. Anything you want to put anything over?
All my social media handles are just at Sweet Robin Shaw. Makes it very easy. Pro Wrestling Tees store, even though I'm a bad guy, so don't buy my shirt. ProWrestlingTees.com/Sweet Robin Shaw. If you really want to buy a shirt, you shouldn't because I'm evil. You should hate me, but I'm an indie wrestler. I have to sell T-shirts. So.
I did say it made it really easy to tag you in all the tweets and the Instagrams because I was able to find you really quickly.
And that
it weren't like Sweet Robin Shaw 77766_7 or something like that.
By the way, that was the greatest sales pitch I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I don't want you to buy my shirt,
but you should.
But if you absolutely feel like you need to, go do it. But I still don't like you.
Exactly.
There you go. That's a great job. That's a heel work right there, dog.
I'm trying.
Excellent, man. Anything else coming up in the future? You got anything planned? Any goals? What do you got goals for 2021, dog?
Wrestle more, wrestle as much as possible. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I don't really have like goals of like making it, but I like wrestling a lot and I like traveling. So like if I can travel up and down the state, and I was supposed to wrestle in Utah in like March, and then that got canceled because of COVID. And I still want to get out there, but right now I'm being extra careful with. Basically, if your wrestling promotion isn't having mandatory COVID tests, I'm not going.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that.
Yeah, like that's literally my only bar. Like if everyone's COVID tested, I can at least like feel you're trying to take it seriously, so I'll go. But otherwise, I don't want to.
Yeah. But hey, man, travel and wrestle. That sounds like some good goals.
Mm-hmm.
That pound the pavement, dog.
Yep.
Ride them roads.
Mm-hmm.
The highways and the byways.
Beat up Jervis on Hollywood. That's the other thing I want to do.
There you go, dog. There you go. TV time.
Yeah.
TV time. Let's see. Adam, anything else we got to put over as far as...
No.
Next week.
Next week.
Adam, you know,
I don't know if you want to announce it.
Adam, what is next week?
Next week is the year anniversary of the Hogsmen podcast.
It's almost the exact anniversary.
I think it's gonna come out on the 27th, which is exactly a year from when the first episode came out.
Yep. So next week show, we're gonna be recording at the Level Up Pro Wrestling School, aka the Level Up Studios. And we're going to have Benny, a.k.a. B-Boy, sit in. Hunter Freeman's going to return. He hasn't been on the pod. And who fucking...
Hunter only shows up for the big shows.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know last time he was on.
It was probably the last time Dominic was on.
And then Dominic's going to sit in next week, too. Dom's going to hang out. We haven't talked to him since before he debuted.
Yeah, it was literally the weekend before he had his SummerSlam match.
So it's going to be nice to catch up with him. See what's going on in his world. And so yeah, tune into that episode. It'll be next week. And then it's after our training. So are you go to training on Tuesday nights?
Usually.
If you want to hang out, man.
Yeah.
You can hang out with us. The more the merrier.
The more the merrier.
The more the merrier. Because I don't know what the
dig
fuck
out some other mics, but we'll figure it out.
I don't know what we're doing. So the more people here, the better chance I have of figuring out what to talk about.
Yeah. If Dominic's here, we probably can cover about an hour. And Benny, too. There's about an hour, 45 minutes of just talking to them about stuff.
I like to call it on the fly.
There you go.
Call it on the fly.
Same.
All right, man.
Did anyone even notice Devin was gone?
For a second, I
you turn and you're like, you're not Devin.
You're not Devin.
I'm definitely not Devin.
But anyways, Shaw, thanks, man. Appreciate you having coming on the show, dog. When's the last time we had a guest on?
Andy Brown, probably.
Oh, that's right. We had Andy. Didn't we have somebody else that we?
Since then, I think Andy was the last guest because that was back at the Level Up show a couple months ago.
That's right.
I'm trying to think. I don't think we had another guest since then.
Yeah, man. So it's nice to get some new blood in here. New blood.
Thank you so much.
And then next week too.
And then next week too.
Then hopefully next week, that week after that, we can figure something out for that too.
Figure it out. All right. Well, I appreciate you listening to this episode of the Hogsmen Pod. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, a whole bunch of other platforms. Steel Cage Radio also. And shout out to 10 Barrel Brewing, Pub Beer, Cheap Fun Beer. What's up? And Adam, is there anything else I got to put over? Oh, you want to put over the social media?
Yeah, we are at Hogsmen Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Like, subscribe. When I post the things about the questions, feel free to send them. Don't wait till the day of the podcast to send them.
Yes.
Would be nice to get them a little sooner.
And then also check out Level Up Pro Wrestling. We're going to be releasing matches on IWTV.com. I think next month it starts. Yeah. So you're going to get a whole bunch of brand new matches. You're going to see some debuting students on these matches, wrestling myself, Shaw, Hunter, and we're going to be recording matches every Sunday for the next
foreseeable future.
Yeah, foreseeable future.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be every week.
Good, man. I'm glad we're doing that. We should have
content.
We should have been doing it a long time ago.
That's what I wanted to been doing.
But hey, man, better late than never. So it's good, man, because got to get some new footage out there. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, Shaw, I don't know if you know this, but if they want the tip, what do they got to do?
Then?
No.
Yikes.
Adam, go and take it.
You got to take the whole hog.
Adios.